My name is Somashekar, course faculty for this course. Then quickly I will show you. After knowing the torque motor, we will see the differential pressure across the spool end. Consider a pair of flapper nozzles in conjunction with the pair of orifices used to generate a pressure differential by small movement of the flapper positioned midway between the flapper nozzles. You will see here I have shown you the figure of the flapper nozzle valve. This is a flapper nozzle valve. It will rotate here or rotate here, any direction. These are the nozzles and these are the orifices. From the supply it will come here, it will go. In the null position, large amount of null flow is going to the tank. This is a spool valve, U is a velocity. How it will be moved? When the torque motor is energized, flapper will move this side or this side. For example, if it will move this side, the pressure will build here, P1 is greater than P2, it will move, correct. Now here I am showing you A into U. A is the area of the spool, pi by 4 dP square, and U is the velocity. Here I have shown you the this is the flapper. The distance between the flapper to the nozzle is xnm, xnm. When the null position, xnm, both side it is equal. Okay friends, let us will see here the flow is QA and QB, QX from the nozzle and QI from the nozzle. This is the orifice flow. Let us will see the dynamics of the spool movement. The spool area is A and a spool velocity is U. For a typical flapper nozzle valve, the nozzle diameter is typically 0.5 mm and the flapper clearance in the mid position typically xnm is 0.03 and the orifice diameter typically 0.2 mm. You will see nozzle diameter is given, orifice diameters. Flapper mid position is called the null position. Here there exists a maximum leakage flow to the tank and hence producing a power loss in the middle positions. So, as the flapper is moved to the left, in practice by electromagnetic means, then the pressure P1 at the spool will increase and pressure P2 at the spool will decrease, thus providing a delta P across the spool valve, which will then move unless restraining in some way. The flow loss and a power loss will decrease as the flapper position is changed. To analyze the flapper nozzle bridge, the conventional restrictor flow equations are approximated and given by, you will see here the QA and QB. QX, this is plus A into U, here proportionately the spool velocity is minus A into U. Then how to calculate the QA here? QA is the CQ naught A naught root of 2 PS minus PA. PS is the supply pressure, PA is pressure at this side. You will see rho is a density of the fluid. Similarly, the QB on the other side here, you will see here the QB here, whatever it is coming from this orifice, same way CQ naught O A naught into root of 2 PS minus PB divided by the rho. Similarly, how we will calculate the QX and QY here? CQN, it is a coefficient at the nozzle, this is a coefficient at the orifice. ANX, here ANY root of 2 PA divided by rho, or 2 PB by rho, same way it is. Now, we will see friends, to determine the nozzle effective flow area, it is assumed that the peripheral area is dominant because of the relative dimensions of the nozzle diameter, there is a null clearance ratio of typically 15. Therefore, considering the figure, it follows that A naught equal to pi by 4 dO square. The perimeter here ANX is pi dN x nm minus x, maximum displacement of the nozzle, then how much it is moved. Similarly, it will pass, correct, equal proportionate here. Considering the condition in which the spool motion is negligible, then the steady state performance of the double Plaper nozzle amplifier may be derived from the equation Q1 equal to Qx, Q2 equal to Qy. This leads to PA bar 1 divided by 1 plus Z into 1 minus x bar into whole square. Similarly, here 1 plus PA and P bar are the average pressures. You will see here PA bar is PA by PS supply, non-dimensional value, PB bar equal to PB by PS, x bar equal to x by x nm. This is the maximum displacement and how much it is moved. Z is 16 into CQN by CQO whole square or dN square by dO square into x nm by dO square. The pressure differential is then given by PA bar minus PB bar. This is an equation. At the null condition, meaning x bar is 0, PA bar minus PB bar is 0, then the spool will not move, that is what I am telling you. Then PA bar equal to PB bar, in the null position this is 1 divided by 1 plus Z, and the null gain is differentiate PA bar PB bar what you are getting with respect to x bar. We will get it 4Z divided by 1 plus Z whole square. To obtain the maximum sensitivity at null, the above equation leads to the maximum null gain when Z equal to 1, suggesting that the design should produce a null pressures of PA equal to PB, that is equal to PS by 2, that is half the supply pressure. Considering the flow loss and a power loss, it follows the flow loss Q bar equal to W bar loss equal to 1 minus x bar, the thing 1 plus Z 1 minus x bar. Here it will be, here is same though, plus, correct, as I have told, symmetry is there here. Then Q bar loss equal to Q loss by Kn, W bar loss equal to W loss by PS into Kn. Kn is a CQN pi dN xnm root of 2 PS by rho. The pressure differential characteristics with a Plaper displacement characteristics and the power loss and a flow loss are shown for a range of the design parameters Z, for example, Z equal to 0.5, Z equal to 1, Z equal to 2, how my PA bar minus PB bar across the spool. You will see here how the linearity is there. In the null position it is a 0, then it is differential pressure is increasing. Later at the later stage you will not get the proper linearity. Always you will see here in the mid position the losses are maximum. If the spool control is achieved with Plaper displacement around the null conditions, then a value of Z is greater than 0.5 or less than 2 is satisfactory. The suggested value of Z equal to 1 being ideal. Increasing Z does decrease the flow and power losses, which are both maximum at the null condition. The issue of design is therefore centered around the calculation of the design parameter Z, a value of Z equal to 1 being typically of that sought by the servo valve manufacturers. It is reasonable to select the flow coefficient CQN equal to approximately 0.6 for the nozzle and CQO for 0.8 for the orifice as a general design guide. Now quickly we will see the one more servo valve, jet pipe electro-hydraulic servo valve. It is a flow dividing type. You will see here friends, this is a jet pipe which will carry a fluid continuously, and impinging on the plate. This is called a receiver plate, which has a 2 holes. These 2 holes are connected to the precision spool valve, and then from the jet pipe to the spool there is a feedback spring. Please see here. This is moved, jet pipe will moved over the receiver plate using the torque motor. Meaning 2-stage valve I am showing you here. First stage is the torque motor assembly, second stage is a valve assembly. Quickly I will show you the operation of this. You will see here friends, I have shown detailed view of jet pipe electro-hydraulic servo valve. Torque motor as usual I have told you, north pole piece, south pole piece, this is the armature, these are the air gaps, and here permanent magnets, U-type permanent magnets. Then you will see here this is a flexural tube. Flexure tube is which has a rotational stiffness which will move along with the armature. Armature is pivoted here, and here it is a flow line. Then beneath this the second stage, what it is, receiver plate is there, 2 holes connected to the spool end. As the spool valve will move, flow is going to the actuator. In the null position, what is the null position? When the jet pipe is at the center, equal amount of flow will come to the left receiver and a right receiver, as I have shown you here. Then spool will not move. Then no flow is going to the actuator, because it is a null cut servo valve. C1 and C2 are completely blocked by the lands. You will see here friends, here I am showing you the left receiver and right receiver drilled in the receiver plate. These holes are as close as possible for getting the maximum pressure recovery. And the top of this is a nozzle. Please see here, top I am showing you the top side, you will see nozzle is coming here. These are the area, these are the opened area, correct here. The flow Q in 1, then it will come out as a Q out 1, because no passage here. After pushing the spool, it will come back and it will go through the opened orifice. Similarly, Q in 2, then after this it will come through opened orifice Q out 2. Over the receiver hole, it is a first stage area modulation. For example, if jet pipe nozzle is moving this side, this area is increasing, meaning pressure is increasing in the left receiver. The spool will move, proportionately it is decreasing here. Correct here friends, this is a first stage area modulation. Here you will see second stage area modulation means when the spool valve will move, ports will get opened, correct, orifice equation. Here you do not think always a circular orifice here. The orifice may be the any type based on the customer requirement of the flow. Here you will see octagonal port opening. You will see here 1 into 45 degree, correct, meaning the spool will move in this position only, meaning very small 0.85 mm on either side of the valve body. Here when it will starts moving, the area modulation is the second stage area modulation in the 2-stage servo valve. First stage at the receiver plate, second stage here as the spool will move. The whole basic idea in the jet pipe servo valve is converting the pressure energy into kinetic energy of the jet. Kinetic energy again converted into the pressure energy in the receiver plate, which results in the delta P across the spool. Then spool will move by the flow. The piston displacement will take place for load positioning. You will see this is the operation how jet pipe servo valve will work. Now quickly I will tell you the theoretical investigation essential to know the pressure and flow variations, which is a function of jet pipe motion over the receiver plate. As it will, the spool will move, it will, you have to know the what is the pressure and flow is going to the actuator. So the first stage flow Q in and Q out, first stage leakage. Second stage flow no load and a load flow and a leakage. Leakage means when the spool is at the null position, through the radial clearance between the spool and the valve body, always there is a flow, null leakage it is. Quickly you will see here friends, I have shown you the jet pipe here, receiver plate here, connected here. You will see here area modulation as I have shown you A1 and A2. When the jet pipe is at the middle, A1 equal to A2, the spool will not move. The flow will come here Q in 1 and go out through the Q out 1. Here Q into Q out 2. The distance between the receiver plate is the distance between the receiver hole is W, it is the web thickness. And please note, the nozzle receiver holes all are on the same line to get the maximum pressure recovery. Then after pushing the spool, all flow will come here, meaning how you will divert to the tank. Always you have to maintain the in between pressure is there between the nozzle and the receiver plate, which will divert the flow through the leaf plug to the tank. Always in between pressure is playing a major role. It will divert the flow back to the tank through the leaf plug. Leaf plug is an orifice again. Now we will see friends, Q in, which is equal to Q in 1 plus Q in 2. How to calculate Q in? A1 V1, A2 V in, correct? A1 V in, A2 V in. A1 and A2 are the areas. V in is the velocity of the jet, which is calculated root of 2 PS minus P1 or P2 by rho naught. Rho is the density of the oil. Then Q in A1 into root of this I am calculating here 2 root PS minus P1 by rho naught plus A2 into root PS minus P2 by rho naught. So Q out is Q out 1 plus Q out 2. How to calculate Q out? Using the simple orifice equation. CD A1 dash I am using here. This is the opened area, that is why I am telling A1 dash, A2 dash are the opened area. Root of 2 PS P1 minus Pi in between pressure by rho naught plus CD into A2 into dash root of 2 P2 minus P1 by rho naught. Same fluid depth, you do not think rho naught and both are different, both are same. So the P1 equal to Pi plus PD1. PD1 is the dynamic pressures. P2 equal to Pi plus PD2. PD1 is 1 by 2 rho Vn square into zeta, distributor loss coefficient, A1 by Az. PD2 is 1 by 2 rho Vn square, zeta A2 by Az. Using this equation, you have to calculate the pressure and the flow in the jet pipe servo valves. The typical first stage pressure recovery I am shown here, which is designed for the constant pressure hydraulic supply. Delta P equal to 17 bar, it will result in 17 liters per minute. When the jet pipe is moved exactly over the one hole, which will create the 17 bar pressure drop, which will move the spool. As the spool will move, it will result in 17 liters per minute of aviation kerosene to the actuator. Here you will see, as I have shown you, when it will, this is the area modulation, this is a moment through the torque motor, correct. Here you will see whenever the jet pipe is at the middle, pressure is equal in the receiver plate, approximately here I am taking the 0.8 MPa it is. When the jet pipe is moved in the assumed to be in the left side, what happen? One side pressure is goes on increasing, other side pressure goes on decreasing proportionately. Similarly, when the jet pipe will move here, one side pressure is goes on increasing, other side pressure goes on decreasing. But you will see some non-linearity is there. This non-linearity due to the distance between the two receiver holes. As I have told you, this distance is as close as possible to get the maximum pressure recovery. Concluding remarks. Electro-hydraulic servo valve, basically used in feedback control systems, works on differential pressure across the precision spool valve, which results in precise flow to an actuator, ensures accurate and a precise load positioning. Electro-hydraulic servo valve is an interface between the electrical device and hydraulic systems, generally known as a mechatronic systems. Here oil flow is proportional to the input electrical signals, designed for constant hydraulic supply always. For example, a 17 bar pressure drop results in 17 liters per minute of aviation kerosene or any fluid to the actuator. So, in today's lecture, we have discussed in detail the followings: hydraulic servo actuator, mechanical servos, construction and typical applications, electro-hydraulic servo valve, typical applications, block diagram, servo valve constructions, different stages, flapper nozzle electro-hydraulic servo valve, constructions, operations, jet pipe electro-hydraulic servo valve, constructions, operations. Okay friends, we will stop now and see you all in the next lecture. Until then, bye bye. Thank you one and all for your kind attention. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu.